On guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about how really successful men can double their energy level and what actually science says around your specific action plans. So I'm going to give you a client example. His name is Mark. He's 45 years old. He's a tech founder, and during one of our first meetings, he told me something that really resonated with a lot of my clients. He said that it was during this crazy client acquisition meeting. It's been going on for hours, and he looked across the table and he saw these younger VPs just firing on all cylinders while he's basically just running out of fumes. And he basically had to excuse himself to grab another coffee, have an energy drink just to function, and that's when it hit him. His energy level was literally costing him a ton of money. And I just hear this story or this type of story countless times where really successful guys, their energy that they relied on in their 20s, even 30s, it just isn't there anymore. So I'm Dr. Dexu, former official UFC physical therapist. I've worked with over 1,200 high-performing men at this point to help them become the best version of themselves mentally and physically. So today I want to share with you 3 main reasons why successful guys struggle with energy levels despite it, crushing it in every other aspect of their life. And more importantly, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix each one based off of what I've learned working with professional athletes, but also what the actual science says around this. So problem number 1 is your breakfast is really just killing your afternoon. That mid-afternoon crash that a lot of people experience, that's not normal. It's caused by how you start your day. And there's a lot of research that demonstrates your breakfast directly impacts your brain function for 6 to 8 hours later. So to give you an example, one of our older clients, he's an investment banker that we work with, and he relied purely on coffee, right? So just fasted all up until 2 p.m. Then all of a sudden he hit a massive wall. He couldn't think straight. He had brain fog. So here's what we actually did with him. We, instead of just got him to intermittent fast and cut out breakfast entirely, this might work for someone that isn't really a high performer where they can just cut out all their calories, fast, cut out all the carbs, but you need to have carbs to function. You need to have food to function. So what we actually got him to doing instead is having protein. We're aiming for at least 50 grams, and this amount could just be 4 eggs, protein shake on top of that, protein pancakes, and study shows that having this will stabilize your blood sugar for hours, right? Think of it like this. If you're going to go and train, and you're about to run or a marathon or something like that, you need to fuel yourself. So if you're not fueling yourself at all, and your sport nowadays is your performance in your career, and you're not hydrating, you're not literally putting fuel into your body, how can you perform, right? Treat your career like a sport, like it is. Because some people have careers where they don't really need to use their brain. They can just get on with life on autopilot. But if you're a high performer, and your career depends on you using your energy and your resources in a specific way, you just cutting on your calories and just having coffee and relying on nothing, you're gonna end up crashing big time around afternoon, 2 to 4 p.m., right? And on top of that, hydrate right away. Drink 16 to 20 ounces of water within 30 minutes of waking up. Even mild hydration tanks your energy level and thinking. So specifically when UFC guys are fighting and cutting weight, one of the biggest things that we really try to focus our fighters on is right before they fight, there's literally a hydration protocol. Yeah, and I would totally get it. I know what you're thinking. These guys have to cut massive amount of weight, massive amount of water weight. But even during camp, it's hydration, 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 right? When they're cutting all this weight and they lose a ton of weight in a single day, a lot of that comes from water. But the rehydration protocol is so important. There's literally a manual that each fighter has to follow. That's the type of food, the specific amount, so that they can actually hydrate correctly and not just pee everything out. Okay. On top of that, when you first wake up, hold off on drinking coffee for around 90 minutes. Having caffeine immediately right after you wake up really blunts its effect, right? It might taste really good. You can have a decaf, something like that. But what's going to probably happen is you're going to crash way harder later. You're going to crash even harder around 2 to 3 p.m. So minimize your caffeine for at least 90 minutes. And then from here, you can enjoy it. You're still going to have the effects of coffee. Usually, if you just have first thing on wake, it's just for taste, right? So one of our clients, his name's David, and he basically made these changes right away. And he told me literally his energy doubled within a week. And he told me, for the first time in years, I'm just as sharp at 4 p.m. as I am at 9 a.m. And so that second problem that we often see is most high performing men, executive, business owners, you're moving all wrong. The energy comes from the morning workouts, but research shows it's what you do during your workday that actually matters quite a bit. So I have a CEO that I'm working with, and he does like 90-minute gym sessions on the weekend, but sits for like 12 plus hours during the work week, right? So despite his discipline, he's constantly drained. So here's what actually worked for him. All we got him doing is every single hour, we did a 2-minute movement break. That's all we did, right? And from here, you got him standing up, stretching, got him on walking pad. Harvard research shows that this keeps your energy system active all day. So you're not just relying on caffeine. So we do these 2 30-minute strength sessions weekly, and we focus on really big compound movements and presses. And this signals your body to build more energy capacity. So we use something called the 20-20 rule. Every single 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. This reduces the mental fatigue that drains your energy because you can only focus for a certain amount of time. This is why a lot of our clients use time blocks so that they can actually be way more efficient in that time. After that 20-minute time frame, it's just hard for you to focus. So having these little movement snacks is really, really helpful. 2 things. Number one, obviously it gets you a little bit more focus for the next task. But for here, this is where you can actually start to increase your NEAT and your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And this is gonna help you burn a little bit more calories throughout the day. And literally, as soon as we're able to implement these changes, his energy levels just like literally improve literally the next day. And his team was like, dude, like I really noticed a difference now. The presence, the focus during long meetings, like we can see you acting completely different. So the third problem that I often see is you're just not recovering strategically. You're just pushing through fatigue. Guys, this is not like a badge of honor. You're not trying to like torture yourself. It's really a recipe for burnout. Your brain, like every other aspect of your body, needs some sort of strategic recovery protocol. And we have a law partner that we work with, and we basically, and for him, for some reason, he's super proud of grinding 16-hour days. But basically at the end of the day, his focus was completely shot. His decision making was like suffering, his fatigue was going through the roof, and he's super irritable for him and his team. So what actually worked really well for him is we worked in 90-minute focus blocks. Time blocks. Your brain naturally cycles between high and low alertness every single 90 minutes. Fighting through this biological rhythm drains you. So take actual breaks, like a real break. And this is not like, I'm just gonna go on email, I'm just gonna go on my phone, like no work or thinking for like 5-10 minutes. So what we like to do for a lot of our clients, as corny as it sounds, deep breaths, super important. Calm the central nervous system down, think about visualization, think about some good things that's happened in your life, right? It makes a profound difference. Manifestation, as like, I don't know if a lot of people are really into that, but we are. And we just believe that if you're able to manifest good thoughts and think about the good stuff and remove a lot of the negative thoughts, you just put yourself way more at ease. You can experience the emotions, the thing that's actually happening, the family, like you can experience that right now. You don't need to have the thing, you can start to experience that. You can go for a walk outside, or you can just simply sit quietly for like 5-10 minutes. And this is so hard for so many people to do, but this really protects your energy reserves big time. Another thing is protect your sleep environment. So keep your bedroom really, really cool, 65 to 68 degrees. Keep it super dark. So what I like to have is like these blind out curtains, and that just allows me to sleep through the night because sleep is super, super important. In fact, like it's one of the things that when a UFC fighter comes to work with us, it's like one of the first things that we teach them. We have a sleep protocol where it's like, hey, if you want to like train 3 times a day or even 1 time a day or whatever times a day, you need to sleep. That's the only way you can actually build recovery. And for us, we actually take it to another level and we use stuff like, wearables, like Oura Ring. So Oura Ring is really, really helpful for 2 big reasons. Number one, it actually looks at your sleep quality. So you might feel like you're sleeping 8 hours, but when you look at your sleep score, you're only sleeping for like 6 hours. So if you're only sleeping like 5-6 hours and that's your true sleep, what's gonna happen is when you go and train, you're gonna feel that. Even though you might not feel super tired, it's gonna affect your performance big time. Imagine this, so you have like a really, really hard strength day the next day and you're pushing for a PR and you slept like 3 hours. Like how can you perform? It's really, really hard to do that. If you have a really, really big deal that's coming up for you and you're sleeping like 3 hours a day, like how are you able to sleep? How are you able to perform the next day? It's really, really hard to do that. The second thing that we do for a lot of our clients is track something called HRV. HRV is thrown around so much in the internet, but I think a lot of people are just not using it correctly. HRV, we use it at the UFC for basically recovery. If you look at the top athletes in the world, or even like at the UFC, is everyone's training super hard. They're all like kicking ass. They're all like training like quite a bit. They're putting in massive work. So what's the difference between like the actual champions versus like the guys who are just kind of going in right first? It's recovery. Everyone's training super hard. Everyone is training so hard to the point where they need to focus on recovery because that's like the missing piece so that they can go train again. That's where they can work on their skills, their technique, stuff like that. But it's the same thing for high-performing men. High performers don't look at recovery. They just think that they got one dial, I'm gonna go all out, I'm gonna go train, I'm gonna go do these burpees, I'm gonna do it. You're just draining your central nervous system. It's just like you go to a group workout class and there's guys looking to your right, there's someone that's like 300 pounds and you look to the left, there's like, a lady, beautiful lady, pregnant though, right? You guys are all doing the same workout. Like how can you expect to have different results? It just doesn't work that way. It's not gonna be individualized, it's not customized, but probably what's gonna happen is you're just spending your mental bandwidth, your physical and mental bandwidth on things that just won't work. So when you actually look at your HRV, which is basically the inverse of your heart rate, think about your heart rate, like if it goes up, it means you're in a pretty stressed environment, which means it might be a good time for you to recover. That means your HRV is gonna be low. It's gonna be indicating a trend down of like not recovering well. So when you're looking at that, you can catch it before it gets worse. And then you get to a place of like burnout. So using HRV is really, really important to look at the trend and having a actual system that can help you boost your baseline HRV over a period of time and looking at the thing that actually worked for you. That's like what's really, really important. And so when you look at the actual up and down trend of HRV, you're gonna find that there's certain things that work well for certain types of people. Those are the things that's gonna help you increase your HRV. So you wanna continue doing those. But there's also things that's gonna impact your HRV to go down. And if it's going down, it's the inverse of your heart rate. Heart rate goes high. If your heart rate's really high, stress out, cortisol, all that stuff, no bueno, right? So when you have a system that you can specifically look at the data and be like, hey, this thing actually increases my HRV, that's good, right? Your heart rate, your resting heart rate goes down, you're in a less stressed environment, you feel good, you wake up, you look in the mirror, you're like, damn, man, like, dude, I look in the mirror and I feel amazing. Those are good things. Those are really, really good things. And so as soon as we were able to implement these strategies for one of our clients, literally performance went through the roof, like within like 10 hours, like literally implemented this, literally the next day, freaking feels amazing. And for him, he's actually enjoying his work again, because oftentimes people start to enjoy their work less because they just don't feel good, right? They feel burnt out. And having just like ways to navigate this, like no one actually tells people how to like perform and how to like conserve your energy, how to, structure your bandwidth. Like no one's ever done that. And so if you see your sport right now as your career, and that's the thing that's quite important for you, like why are you not like kind of managing it? Your load is super important, your central nervous system. You can't just like give all your bandwidth away, right? This isn't like super complicated science. It's about working with your biology and understanding it. And the top performers that we work with understand energy management. It's a real competitive advantage. While everyone else is dragging through the afternoon, they're making super clear decisions. They don't have brain fog, right? They're not stumbling their words. Think about, oh man, it's so hard for me to maintain focus. And they're just going through like 4 hours of their 12-hour workdays just completely useless, right? It's just not effective. And from there, they're able to bring themselves to their best selves in every single interaction. When they're finished work, they come home, they're super, super, super present with their family. And it's amazing to see. This isn't about being some sort of fitness junkie. I'm not a fitness junkie. Like, I don't have time to train 7 hours a day or even 4 hours a day. That's way too much. It's about having the physical capacity to execute at your highest level when it matters most. Whether it's during negotiations, closing big deals, big presentations, you got leadership moments, the energy gap between average and excellence is widening, it's getting bigger. So which side do you want to be on? So question for you, which of these 3 energy problems resonated with you the most and your current experience? Let me know in the comments below. I've basically put together a complete video that walks through our full energy optimization system for busy professionals. So check out the link in the bio to learn exactly how you can just implement this these principles into your life. And if you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button for more content specifically designed for high-performing, busy professionals who want to optimize their health without sacrificing their career or family time. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.